Happy winning Wednesday. Of course, I do not own copyrights to any of this music. Where you at? It is winning Wednesday. Where are you guys? Where are you at? Where are you at? What are you doing? Where you at? It is winning Wednesday. Again, do not own any copyrights to this music. It just kind of fit the topic for tonight, right? Be okay. So, before I even get started on the topic, we already know what to do, right? We're going to make sure that the bell is highlighted. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so that when I post new content, you guys are able to get it. You get notifications. Also, a like. And take something away from this that will let you win in one or two or three or all areas of your life. And what's not for you, share it so that the next person can win, because we should all be winning, right? So that was my song, Where You At? But anywho, and the song said, Where You At, right? So it is winning Wednesday. And I like to kind of sometimes title these things. However, sometimes I also like to make it a question, because I still want you guys' opinions, your what you feel about it. So tonight, winning Wednesday, and I titled this, Is Separation Necessary for Success? And then the song was Where You At? You know how that goes. And I'm going to give you guys my opinion. Separation. And when I say separation, what do I mean? Separation from who? Separation from what? By all means, what do you mean separation? Separation, is it necessary for success? Back in my earlier days, I wouldn't necessarily say that. And I wouldn't have said that. I used to be with people and people would say all the time, they do this or they that. And I'm like, and that does not mean that I'm going to be the same person or do the same things. And I think I talked about this one time before too, about your environment. Your environment matters. And that brought me to separation. And I'm like, like I said, back then I would have said no, because I'm my own person and I do what I want to do, how I feel, what works for me, not necessarily what works for the person next to me, right? Now I see things differently. I see things differently because I'm growing. I'm changing in every sense. I'm proud of me. There's so much more work to be done. However, now I say separation is necessary. And when you think about separation, most people be like, yeah, I got to separate myself from that person. I got to separate myself from this, that, and the third so that I can, focus. Well, what I'm learning and what I have learned, separation may be necessary. It may be necessary for success, because if you don't separate, and Dr. David and Minicie, let's look up the definition of separation, right? Sorry, I'm looking at a chart as well. So separation. What does it mean to separate? Come on. Okay, so separation, the act or state of moving or being moved apart. The division of something into constituents or distinct elements. What do you mean to separate, right? Boundaries, layer between surface of a body or a moving fluid, between two fluids, moving, separation, right? And that is so, got me to this point where I truly believe that separation is necessary, because yeah, we need to watch our environment. We should, think about the people that we're around, and not so much of that. It's my biggest thing now that I've learned in this process of being an entrepreneur, just stepping out of doing things new in life, right? I was about to give it away. So I feel like the biggest separation that needs to happen is separation from self. Well, Zedra, what do you mean separation from self? Are you crazy? You're only one person. What are you talking about? Well, separation from self is the most important, because whoever you are when you first begin anything, when you start off on a journey, you are who you are, right? And Whoever you are in this moment, in that particular moment, led you to want to be in that particular environment, or drew you closer to these type of people, or your likes and dislikes were based upon the person that you were, right, when you started. However, now I know that when you want to go further in life, when you want to do things that you've never done, when you just want to succeed at anything, which means that you're doing something different from what you've always done to get something that you've never gotten, you have to separate from self. It starts with self. How we like to say, if you want to know something, get it from the horse's mouth. You are the horse. You are where separation begins and where it ends. Now, my name will always be my name. I'll always be Deidre out. My heart will be the same. My heart will probably be growing. I just now I invite change. I invite change into my life, into my every being. And what I will say about separation from self is, if you handle that main problem, how they say, um, I'm a country girl, right? And snakes and all those things were, I ain't playing with them, I ain't dealing with them. However, I've always watched, my grandfather or somebody, get rid of a snake, right? And what they did to the snake to actually make sure it was gone, I'm like, okay, so why didn't they just hit it? They had to separate. They always, I don't care how it happens, even if they ended up running over something in the road, they're gonna go back and they're like, and I used to like wonder, why are they always chopping the head off the snake? And then I learned why. It was separation. Even though they felt like they ran it over, they shot at it, whatever, that snake still had the potential to be that snake if he didn't cut the head off. If he didn't separate the snake, it could have possibly still, I mean, it's still a snake after it's dead, but separation of the head. And that's what I mean. Like, the biggest separation that you have to do, or you have to go through when you want to successfully get rid, or not get rid of, successfully walk away from what it was, or what you used to be, or what you used to do. You're going to have to separate self, because now as I'm growing and I'm separated, I have to get out of my way, right? I have to stop doing some of the things that I like to do, or stop thinking the way that I used to think, which means I had to separate from me. Which, when I started separating from myself, and Deidre will always be Deidre, and she ain't changing for nobody, and I stand 10 toes on that. Well, I do. But guess what? I gotta change for Deidre now. Deidre has to change for Deidre, which means Deidre has to now separate herself from who Deidre used to be to get where she's trying to go. And now that I'm separating myself from myself, it's leading me into different environments. It's leading me to different people. It's leading me to like and dislike different things. You can say all day, I'm going to stay away from this person, or, I ain't going back there no more. You can separate it, but guess what's still the same? You. If you always make it about the people, the person, the things, the environment, the common denominator out of all of those things is what? You. So separation is very necessary for success. If you want to succeed at getting over your fears of something, you're going to have to separate yourself from that self that was so afraid of whatever it was afraid of, which means you're going to have to grow a little bit. You're going to have to get uncomfortable a little bit. You're going to have to separate. So when people even talk about, you did this, you absolutely right. The Deidre back then, she absolutely did. And I'm not going to take it from her. I don't regret it, because it made her into the person she's in today. But she had to separate from that person. She's not still the same Deidre. I like to say, more happier, peaceful, grown, um, loving me, because I've always been me, but I've held myself back from a lot of things because I wasn't ready, or I wasn't willing to sacrifice myself. I wasn't really ready or wanting to separate myself from me. That made a difference because even though I tried to stay out of certain places and go different, move to a different state or whatever, I was still the same. Yeah, old friends or old associates were probably doing the same things that they were doing, but I liked what they were doing at some point, right? I was along for the ride at some point. So just because I moved to a different state or got another job or in a higher tax bracket does not mean that those same things won't still attract me at some point because I didn't separate myself. I left the state, I left some people, couldn't leave a part of me. Separation from self is the biggest thing. And I think that if people get that, if you survive through separating yourself, because sometimes it's like, it's probably a lot of people like, I'm going to be me until the day I leave here. I'm going to have my same social security number. I'm going to have my same date of birth. I'm going to have my same name that my mom and daddy gave me when I came here. I'm going to have hopefully my same features, maybe, you know. So yeah, I'll still be the same person that my mother and father gave birth to. Will I still walk the same? Will I still talk the same? Will I still like the same things? Will I still dislike certain things? Nah. That's the very point of living, not just existing, living. And as I live, I experience things. And as I experience things, I gain something from it, whether it be a lesson, whether it be something, but I gained something from it, which allowed me to have wisdom. So I'm changing. Like change is inevitable, but change will never happen if there's no separation. There has to be separation. And if you're one of those ones who go around and yeah, I don't want to be around that crowd no more. I don't go to the club no more because they what that might be true. But did you really separate from yourself? Are you really trying to aim higher? Because if you're still here, if you're still you, the same person doing the same exact things, move to a different state, different continent. I used to always want to move to a different planet, but what I realized is I would have still been me. I had to separate from myself. I had to separate from the things that I took pleasure in doing because some of those things are not going to get me where I'm going. Nah, it won't. Some people may say and that's the thing too, the song was like, Where you at? When you're going through that period of separation, a lot of people may feel like you're neglectful. They may feel like you are well, the biggest thing that people like to say is that you're changing. Well, duh. But it's nothing I mean, it's nothing, to them. It's all personal. It is all personal because in this one body, in this one whole being, there's just one life that I have in control, that I'm in control of. And at the end of the day, it's still a higher one over this one. But in the physical, in this body, I'm only responsible for this life. Change is okay. Separation is okay. And when they feel like you're moving a little different, talking a little different, walking a little different, you ain't even got to do it in their face. Just go to the corner and clap for yourself. Pat yourself on the back because once they notice that, you now get to realize that, might be, I might be changing, y'all. I might be doing something different. Could it be that I'm succeeding in life because I decided to separate myself from me? Nothing personal. Nothing. You'll never be able to control somebody else's life or who they decide to be or what they decide to like and dislike. The only person that you can control is who? Self. We have children, and if you're a parent, I'm a parent. I realized at a certain point, after raising him up the way I felt like he should go, which is, the right way, teaching him the right things, teaching him how to be respectful, teaching him how to provide for himself. Yeah, I always felt like if something happened before 18, 19, he'd be able to make it. I did the best that I could with what I had. And even though I'm his mom, like he knows that whole disrespect, we don't tolerate that. And if you are a country mama, you understand what I mean. But at the same time, you're a parent, but you don't get to have control over their lives. They were your task, they were an assignment. At a certain point, you can only hope and pray that what you instilled in them is still there and they utilize that to kind of guide them along the way. But as they continue to go, the choices that they make, the decisions, who they decide to become will be solely upon them. Yeah, we like to blame other elements on what we do, but ultimately it's us. It's all you. So, yes, my answer, and I want you to drop your answer, right? I actually have another call. I know I was like 10 minutes late here. I want you to drop your answer. Do you feel, because maybe it's different. Maybe you see something that I don't see. Maybe you've experienced something that I haven't yet experienced when it comes to success, when it comes to winning. And we know the definitions of those, right? So, my answer is, and there's a question mark behind the title on this, right? Is separation necessary for success? And in my book, it is. It is. Because if I could have stayed me, who I decided to, who I was a couple years ago, then I would have been succeeding back there. Yeah, I was making it, I was surviving, I was doing the things that I needed to do. But if I can be completely honest, the things that was doing back then, even a year or two ago, wouldn't get me to the desires that I have today. I had to separate myself. And if anybody took offense against that, I'm so sorry. It is my life. I have to make the choices. Hopefully you fit into it. If you don't, then maybe that still may be a good thing. Maybe the person that I was back then wouldn't have allowed you to succeed. So separation was necessary. What's your answer? Do you feel like separation is necessary for success? Or do you feel like, I can succeed at whatever I decide to do, no matter who I decide to be? I don't know. You and I, two different people. But I want to know your answer. I want to know your opinion. So drop it in the chat. Tell me one thing that you're winning with this week, right? It is a winning Wednesday. What did you win with on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? What did you do today? And if you felt like you accomplished nothing at all, take a deep breath. The biggest accomplishment of them all. You are here. So until next time, you guys, be blessed.